Hi peaches, it's Shaaba. Welcome back to my channel and thank you for clicking on another video. It's Monday and you know what that means. It is time for another episode of Am I the Drama? Before we continue though, I just want to ask you something. Can you hear this? I'm sorry if you can. I have a blood test coming up and so I've put some like numbing cream on my elbows. I don't know which one she's gonna do. I'm nervous about it because I have a stupid, irrational needle phobia. I know it's not gonna hurt. This is more a psychological thing, so I hopefully don't think about it if I don't feel it, as opposed to a pain thing. Please excuse the crinkly cling film sound effects that might occur throughout this video. Oh my god. That aside, as you know, we take a look at the subreddit Am I the A-hole here? Why? Because it's a little bit of fun, a little bit of juicy drama. We can hopefully help some people out whilst also expanding our own mindsets along the way. What's not to love? Let's go fishing for some a-holes. I don't know why. I can't let go of the phrase. I know we've changed it to drama. It's gonna stick. It's gonna stick. Are you ready? Am I the drama for making my wife pay me for something she gave away? This is so ominous. I can't tell. I can't make a judgment from this first sentence. Can you? Oh, my wife has a bad habit of giving away or lending out things that don't belong to her. Oh no. I feel like this might be a personal attack. Sometimes I feel like I could be the wife in this situation. I don't do it, but I'm like, you should totally lend that person that thing, but that's like the people pleaser in me. So let's see where this goes. I have lost count of how many times I go to look for something of mine only for her to say that she has lent it to somebody. She also takes forever to get the item back. She once lent my stuff to a co-worker and refused to ask for it back for a month. And I'll never forget the day that my usually quiet, reserved son snapped at her for trying to give away his Nintendo Switch. Oh, wait, hang on. So this isn't just like, oh, here's a hole punch. You need a hole punch? I have a hole punch. This is like items that people are using day in, day out. That's not okay. To be fair, it wouldn't be okay even if it was just a hole punch. Like, you can give away your stuff, but you can't give away other people's stuff, especially without telling them. But let's read on. If I wasn't also fed up with her behavior, I would have washed his mouth out with soap. Oh, so your son got real mad. I will also say though, just with my Mama Shaaba hat on, we should also be reminding kids to use kind language. Even if they're mad at something, you can be mad at it too, but like, you know, just be kind. Be kind. Say how you feel. Do it in a nice way. I've had countless talks, SOP, with her, but she continues to do this. My son and I have resorted to locking up anything that we didn't want touched, which is something we shouldn't have to do in our home. I totally agree with you. This is kind of bananas. No, you absolutely shouldn't feel like that would be everything in your home. I'm looking around this room alone and I'm like, how would I lock stuff up? I'm so confused right now. You should be locking the wife up, not your belongings. No, you should be locking the wife up. That was a bad turn of phrase. I didn't mean it that way. What I mean is it'd be a lot easier to instill boundaries with wife, to be like, don't give away stuff that doesn't belong to you, more so than it would be to lock up everything you own. Last week, says OP, I won a $300 tent in a raffle. I had no plans on using it, so I was selling it. Congratulations. When I found a buyer and went to look for it, I couldn't find it. Oh no. When I asked my wife, she said she gave it to a friend of ours. I got mad at her and said that she had no right to give it away. Her defense was since I didn't spend money on it and I wasn't planning on using it, it made sense to give it away for free. I told her that that wasn't her decision to make. That's it. But she just kept repeating herself. Sometimes I struggle because I'm like, okay, it's very clear who is the drama in this situation, right? The wife. For anyone who was in doubt, it's the wife, right? But I find it difficult when people are acting from good intentions. They're like, I'm genuinely trying to do a good thing. I want to help someone. It's really hard to instill boundaries when there are like repeated people pleasers, which is what I'm calling this to be. Just trying to be kind themselves. They're just doing it in a way that isn't their right to do. That being said, I don't think it's wrong if you won something from a raffle and you didn't want to use it, that you wanted to make money off of that. You know, like just because you got it for free doesn't mean that you have to give it away for free. Is it a kind thing to do? Sure. But do you have to do it? No. It doesn't make you a bad person for doing that? Also no. If it's an opportunistic way for you to have some money because that's your prize that you won and you're just sort of like exchanging it for something else, then that's your prize. It's your prerogative. Let's read on. I had enough of this and I said that she's either going to have to pay me herself or get the money from who she gave it to, and if she didn't, I would get law enforcement involved. Since she'd rather die than ask a friend for money, she paid me out of her own pocket. The issue eventually got around to her family. Whilst they did say that she should have talked to me first, they've also reprimanded me for asking for payment. They reasoned that since I didn't actually buy the tent, I didn't lose any money and it went to a friend who could have put it to good use. I get this, but at the same time, stay in your lane. This is not for you to decide. I got several texts saying that I should be ashamed for extorting my wife for money. I think I've got every right to want to be paid for something of mine that was taken, but everyone keeps emphasizing the fact that I didn't technically buy the tent and I didn't want it, so there's nothing to be upset about. I think context is really important. I think in this situation, it's not about the tent and it's not even about the money. It seems to be that the wife is repeatedly doing this so much that it's really frustrating. I would totally understand the reaction and the assumption that maybe, you know, like it was unfair and dramatic, like an exaggerated reaction to ask the wife to pay you back if it was the first time. But it's not the first time. You are living in a way that is really not okay, right? Like you can't even live freely in your house with your possessions. That's not a way to live. And clearly you speaking to your wife about it in the first place hasn't provided results, because she's just gone and done it again. And she's not just doing it to you, she's also doing it to your kids. So I feel like actually this was kind of measured to be like, look, well, if you're not going to respect my needs in this situation, the outcome was that I was going to get $300. And I also feel so bad for the person who was going to buy it. Like, that's time that you have gone out of your way, right, to go and sell an item and deal with the logistics of that, which isn't the, you know, most simple thing to do. It takes me forever to want to sell something secondhand, and you also don't know the impact that will have on that other person. Maybe they're really looking forward to having a tent. Maybe they turned down other offers to get this tent and now they're not going to get it. My point is the impact that it has on other people, like, really ripples, you know? It's not just one person, and I just think it's a bit unfair. So no, I don't think you are the drama at all in this situation. I think the wife is the drama. I think you've taken a drastic action, but like, with good measure. I probably would have done the same thing that you'd done, considering how many times poor OP has tried to have this conversation and instill those boundaries. It's tricky to say that the wife is drama in this situation, but she totally is. I know she's got good intentions, but you can't people please and give away things that are not yours to give away. It's as simple as that. If you think about it, it might sound silly, but like the principle of what she's doing is really no different to somebody coming to your house uninvited, stealing from you, and then selling something on a black market in order to profit off of it. Like, it's literal theft. She's intentionally depriving you of something that you have the right to own with no intention of giving it back, which is a criteria, at least in the UK, for, what marks theft. So, again, I know that sounds like really dramatic, because you're like, oh, she's just trying to help someone in need. It's a free item. Sure. But it's the principle. It's the principle. So, I don't think you're the drama. I think your wife should talk to someone about why she feels the need to sort of like be the savior for so many people. Does it come from like some deep-rooted trauma? Most things do. It's quite sad, really. But healthy conversations need to be had, and healthy practices need to be had, because otherwise you're just going to end up resenting her, and so is the rest of your family when she gives away stuff that she shouldn't be giving away. It reminds me of that ad for eBay like a long time ago, I don't know if you remember it, where somebody just got like so obsessed with listing things on eBay, and the partner, I can't remember who it was just like, huh, what's my bag? And the person listing was like, oh, Australia. Like, they just sold everything. It's not okay. It's not okay. Shall we see if other people have been as blunt as I have? Not the drama. Does your wife give away any of her own things or just everyone else's? Good question. And Opie actually responded, her stuff as well. She'll give away something of hers, then turn around to buy a new one for herself. Wow. That to me either means she's like super scatty and like doesn't think ahead about the needs of what she wants, but in a way that's like kind of really detrimental to everyday life, or what seems to be most likely is she has a real need to be a people pleaser. She has a real need to satisfy needs of other people. And we're not just talking like siblings, you know, or like immediate nuclear family. She's taking things away from nuclear family to serve more distant people like colleagues. That's interesting. Why? What made you this way, Opie's wife? I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that therapy session. Honestly, it sounds as if your wife has an issue she needs to see a professional about, giving away your family property, not looking after to get it back, caring more about what her colleagues and friends think than how she makes her family feel. I mean, yes, and this isn't the point, so I'm not going to dwell on it for too long. I do think we need to be a little bit careful when we're like, family over friends, because for some people, friends are more family than family is, you know? But I get what you're saying, you know, like, Opie's wife is prioritizing the needs of these like tertiary connections instead of her at the expense of her primary connections, and that's not okay. She doesn't prioritize you and your son, and she sounds as if she has a problem with the definition of personal property. Does anyone else think this is people pleasing? Oh, someone says, I've seen this in my mum. Hers comes from a desperate need to be liked and looked good. She loves the rush of being that person who gave something the thing that they want or needed. Since I was a kid, there was no rush from me because I should love her by default. But coming through with a PlayStation for a new family in town, or party clothes for her friend's daughters, or shoes that her niece wanted, in addition to the pair my mum had actually bought as a gift, all my possessions are given publicly to make her look good in front of friends and family. There's definitely something like in the brain going on here, right? Not the drama. It doesn't matter what it cost. If it doesn't 100% belong to her, she has no right to unilaterally decide what happens to it. I agree. And I think she would also be annoyed. Like, I think like it's okay saying, you know, like, oh, well, you know, she gives away her own stuff. But what if someone else was to give away the stuff that she deemed that she needed? No, that is what's happening, isn't it? It's just, you might like to inconvenience yourself by living life to please other people at the expense of yourself. But that's a very dramatic way to take the definition of helping people, you know? And I just don't think it's fair at all to expect other people to do the same. And I'd be really interested, you know, to see if the people that she's giving to know that that's being done at the expense of herself or her loved ones. Because I'm pretty sure, like, if that person who got the tent knew that OP here was pissed and actually had like another buyer and was going to sell it to them, they wouldn't have accepted it. I don't think OP's wife, I'm making an assumption, but I don't think OP's wife is out here being like, oh yeah, take this thing. Don't worry, I will buy myself another one later because I will absolutely need this item, but you take it now. Like, I don't think there are many examples where people would allow you to do that repeatedly, right? And like be able to accept that kind of thing, because it's not how we work. You know, it's not how people should work. Oh wow, that was so interesting. Wife's definitely the drama, but like I applaud your want to help. You just need to maybe understand where it comes from so that you're doing it healthily. I feel bad for like punishing someone with a drama badge when they've got good intentions. But good intentions doesn't mean good actions, my friends, and that's an important thing to remember. All right, shall we move on? Whew, I can't tell if today's gonna be spicy or not. Am I the drama for refusing to check ring cam footage for my neighbour's car getting scratched? This is really interesting because something kind of similar happened to me recently, and I didn't even think about it. I was like, you need me to check ring cam footage? Of course, I will check ring cam footage. So why are you refusing? I have questions. Let's see. I live in a nice neighborhood, says OP. The driveway has room for 2 cars. It's reserved for my dad and his girlfriend, and I park on the curb in front of the house that fits 2 cars comfortably. This sounds fine. It frustrates me. I'm just like, I don't know if this is a thing for everyone, but I feel like every household, right, has someone who has a thing about neighborhood parking. Jamie gets like really hepped up about things like this, and you know what, I kind of get it. It is a bit of an inconvenience when someone's parking like in a way that means that you have to do like a 5-point turn to get out, which is what was happening to us a number of times. So my automatic reaction, I have to say, when I see things like this is, oh my goodness, if you have like a driveway, why do you need so many cars? But you know what? Sometimes you just do. If there are 3 people, you're all commuting to different places, you all live in one house, but you genuinely have a need for like using cars in a way that you can't car share, what are you supposed to do? You can't park on your driveway, you gotta park on the road. You park in a sensible place on the road, you be mindful of other people parking on the road, right? Let's see. My neighbour, says OP, constantly has guests over, and the guests constantly park on that curb in front of our house, which wouldn't be an issue if they parked properly. Oh, but they don't. They never do. Okay, this would annoy me too. They park directly in the middle of the curb, leaving no room for other cars. That's just rude. And I work a closing shift as well, so I've been forced to find parking in the next street or park and walk back home in the cold, rainy nights, lugging 10 to 20 pounds worth of items with me. Sorry, I don't know how heavy 10 to 20 pounds of items is. Is that like, do you have particularly heavy things that you're bringing to and from work, or is it just like, and you have to carry stuff and that's an inconvenience? It doesn't really change the principle of this issue. I'm just being nosy. My dad's talked to them several times, telling their guests to leave room for other cars to park as well, but they don't care. The same thing just happens the next day. That is really frustrating. I think it's kind to like ask, right? It's totally fine to be like, hey, we also park here. Is there any chance you could ask your guest to scoot over a little? And when you have guests over, I'm just trying to think from the other point of view, sometimes it can be a little bit like, I don't know, I don't like displeasing people. See, I'm a people pleaser too. It can be a little bit awkward to be like, hey, I know you've just come out of your car, but could you go back in your car and do this? But like, tell them in advance. Be like, hey, when you park, could you make sure you leave space for our neighbour's car because they use this space? You know, it's just a kind thing to do. Or even if before they've come out the car, like text it to them. Or as you're walking out, be like, just move this way a little bit, you know? There's ways to do it kindly. Anyway, my neighbour got a new truck and someone dinked it. So it's not even just the guests, it's the neighbour themselves are parking in that spot. He came over today to ask if we can check the ring cam footage to see if it caught anything on the camera. Only I was home, but I just said no, and I shut the door on him. Fair. Let's read on before we make a verdict. He never had any neighbourly courtesy over me having to walk the next street over or from a park to get home at like 12 a.m. in heavy rain, so I don't care if his car got a scratch. My dad saw the ring camera and asked me what happened. I explained to him and he told me that I shouldn't do that because it makes us look bad. But we did check the footage and our cameras never caught anything anyway, so it isn't really our issue. Am I the drama? Okay. The question is being petty acceptable? We need to unpack this because I'm thinking multiple things. The first thing that I'm thinking here is you don't actually have any information on the ring cam, right? Like, I feel like if you did see something happen on the ring cam, like you saw an illegal act that could be really useful evidence, it would be really mean to keep that behind. But also your neighbour, who's obviously really frustrated by this, because I don't know how big a dink is. I don't know how expensive it is to repair a truck, but in your neighbour's mind, you may have something that's really integral to helping them. So I could see why it'd be frustrating, even though you know they don't know that. I just feel like that's an important thing to point out. Ugh, does that make sense? Like, it's just, I don't know. I feel like I would want that reassurance, and I feel like because you have that reassurance, you know that you don't have the evidence, but your neighbour still doesn't know that you don't have the evidence, so it will be a good thing to tell them. I also feel like, yes, okay, here's the thing. You have the prerogative to be this petty. You can do that, but it could have also been a really good opportunity for you to be like, sure, I will take a look, and this is me helping you in this way, but I just want to let you know that I'm being really neighbourly by doing this because it's the right thing to do. In light of this, do you think that maybe going forward you could also park so that I can have space, because there's enough space for us to both fit here and I have to walk really far, really late at night, and it's totally avoidable if you could also help me out. Could we like just be neighbourly in this way, please? And I feel like maybe that could have helped, whereas the fact that you've now shut the door on his face means that he will shut the door on the opportunity to help you out. I just feel like this could be the beginning of one of those terrible neighborhood war documentary shows, you know, where it just escalates to unnecessary bananas. So yeah, being petty is your prerogative, but does it serve you best to do that? I'm gonna say no drama here with a tiny you are the drama, on the basis that on this isolated incident your neighbour didn't do anything wrong. They were coming to ask you for a neighbourly favour. You could turn that into a neighbourly thing. It's entirely your prerogative to not do that, but I personally wouldn't have done that. I do think it's a bit of me move to just shut the door in his face for the sake of pettiness. Oh, what's that saying? Are you cutting your nose off to spite your face? That's it. That's what I feel like could be happening here. I don't know. Karma has a way of coming around. I believe in Mama Karma so much. She is my religion. So I don't do these things because I wouldn't want people to treat me like that. This is my point, right? But it is your prerogative, which is why it's only a tiny you are the drama badge. And I should also say that your neighbour is the drama elsewhere, not in this situation, but elsewhere, for not moving up. But this could have been your opportunity to have done the right thing, and I feel like you've missed it. Does Ovi say anything about that? Not the drama. If the neighbourhood has acted more neighbourly in the past, this wouldn't have been an issue. Fair. Absolutely fair. Not the drama. One shouldn't demand neighbourly courtesy from those that have denied the same. F his truck. Yeah, you are the drama, says someone else. How we treat other people is about our character, not theirs. Oh my god, I feel like I've turned into my mum, but like, this is genuinely how I feel. If he wants to be inconsiderate, that's on him and indicates poor character. When you decide to retaliate and be petty, that's speaking directly to your character. Imagine if you would have done him a good turn there. Do you think he'd be a bit more receptive to your request after that? It may have been an opportunity to create leverage and you missed out on it. Or even if it was an opportunity to create leverage, like, I do think it's just the right thing to do. If the shoe was on the other foot, you know, and later on you have something that happens to your house, because ring cam evidence can be like, it's one of the most wonderful and reassuring things in terms of neighborhood protection, right? Like, there are genuine assholes out there, and sometimes having that kindness of your neighbors can really help you in those kind of situations. So I really hope something similar doesn't happen to you where you need to use their ring cam footage, but if you do, I just feel like you put yourself in a position where they're not going to help you with that. So Ovi has actually responded and said, you're right, I am petty. I would walk 100 more streets in pouring rain to get the opportunity to deny him closure on how a scratch ended up on his car and shut the door in his face again. And that's okay. That's entirely your prerogative. Do I personally agree with it? No. Do you need to care? That's my opinion. Also, no. It's okay. I just really hope Mama Karma doesn't bite you. This is the only thing. All right, shall we move on to another one? Am I the drama for refusing to let my mum move into my home after retiring. Ooh, this sounds tricky. I am a 32-year-old woman. I bought a 2-bed house last year that perfectly suits my needs. My mum, who's 60, is now retiring and wants to move from my childhood home to my city. She's asked if she could have my extra bedroom to move in with me instead of getting her own condo. I love my mum, but I declined. I don't want to give up my guest room and personal space. Sorry, I'm laughing because I'm laughing out of nerves. I love my mum too. I love my family. I love it. I love lots and lots of people, but I can love people and not want them to live with me. Sometimes distance makes the heart grow fonder, and it doesn't mean that you don't like these people. It means that for a long ass time, you have found your groove in how you live and how you routine, and other people's ways of living and routine just sometimes don't fit in with that. And that's totally fine. I'm sure that as much as every single peach here will be thinking of someone of like, yeah, I don't think I could live with them, that person would also probably not want to live under the way that you live too. I don't think OP's mum here is thinking of this as like, oh yeah, I'll live how OP lives. Let's read on. My mum got upset, arguing that families should live together. She wants to be closer to me and says that I'm being unreasonable by not letting her move in. I suggested helping her look for an affordable 55+ community instead, but my mum will not entertain any other housing ideas. Are you an only child? I have questions. She insists that I have plenty of room, and you're paying for that room and therefore, you know, have the prerogative to decide what you want to do with that room. But there we go. And that I should want her to live with me in retirement. She says that I'm abandoning her in her time of need. Okay, I have another question that would severely change the context of this request. Is your mum okay? Like, can she work? Is she just retiring early? Because like 60's really early, right? I don't think people should be working beyond their 60s. Like, you've worked so long, live life, fun. Do what you want to do, explore, do your thing, like totally fine. But like, does she need assistance with living is my question. Because if the answer is no, then like 60's really early. And this just feels like it'll be really restricting, not just to you, OP, but also to your mum, right? I feel guilty, says OP, but I'm not ready to have my mum move in at 32 when I finally have my own place. Yeah, like if you want a relationship, having your mum around, living with you is going to affect that. If you want a family, having a mum is going to affect that. Is this something that her mum did to her? There's so many questions. My brother, oh, so you're not an only child. My brother thinks that I'm selfish for not supporting my mum's plan. Is brother able to have mum in? Is there a reason that brother's not offering himself instead of saying that you're selfish? Questions. But I don't think that her retirement means that I need to give up privacy in my own home. Am I the drama? No. No, you're not the drama at all. I definitely don't think you're the drama here. I do want some more information. Should we try and find that first before we say more? OP's responded a lot here. This is helpful. I love my mum and I understand not everyone wants to live with their parents in retirement. I proposed other ways I can help mum relocate, but giving up my guest room full time doesn't work for me right now. I hope we can find a living arrangement that suits us both. And someone asked, why can't you live with your brother? And OP says he lives in a shared apartment, so that's not an option, but I feel like he tried to not have her live with him either. Simple. If your brother lives in a shared apartment, he can change that situation and share an apartment with his mum, because clearly he has no problem sharing an apartment. Your mum wants to share an apartment. If it's costing, it seems like a win-win. And I'm pretty sure suggesting that, I really hope you have suggested that, OP, because I'm sure suggesting that will stop your brother from being such a hypocrite. Not the drama. I'm 64. Your mum's acting like she's 80. Live your life. She's manipulating you and you'll regret it if she moves in with you. I have to say, like, I just think that like 60 is such a young age to be like, oh, I want to live with you now, unless, let's see if there's any sort of information about like a requirement for assisted living. Is she losing her home because of something like a bad mortgage, or is this just demands of hers and she's perfectly capable of supporting herself? No, she's not losing it. The house is too big for her alone, so she wants to move and decided to come to my city and wants to live in my guest room now. She's perfectly capable of supporting herself. And look, don't get me wrong, I feel like some people might like make the wrong assumptions about my points of view with this, okay? Number one, I don't see kids as a burden. And I don't see parents as a burden either. I love spending time with the family that love and respects me too. I'm very happy to do that. I adore doing that. But again, it's very different to living with them. And just as much as I'm really grateful to have my space to live life my way, I know that all of my loved ones are really grateful for their space to be able to do the same. I'm sure that they wouldn't be very happy, or that, like, they would do it. It's different. If you need it, of course. If your parents need help, of course, you carve a way to accommodate them. Similarly, if I needed help, I'm sure that so many of my loved ones and my family members would be like, hey, yeah, you can come and live with me. But would they be happy about it? No, because they have their own lives too. And the second thing that I feel like I want to point out here is actually I'm kind of excited. I like the idea of my family living with me. When they're older, I want to be able to offer that to them. I don't want them to feel like they need to go to a care home. If they want assisted living, fantastic. Like, if I'm in a privileged enough position to be able to offer that sort of thing, I would absolutely help. But if not, I'd want them to come and to look after them. But not at 60. That's still so young. It's when you need that kind of help. And OP's mum here clearly doesn't need that kind of help. So what are you doing? OP's mum, what are you doing? I feel like maybe what's happening here, because it's always important to try and put yourself in someone else's shoes, right? Is perhaps OP's mum is feeling lonely. Perhaps she's like, look, all of my kids have flown the nest. I'm alone in this big house. I have no idea what to do. Oh, easy. I'll move in because I also don't have a job now. And I feel like when you not lose your job, but you know, like when you decide to leave a workplace, I can't imagine the sense of like identity loss that can come with that. Not that you are your job, but like, hey, there's this thing that I've been doing my entire life and now I don't have that. Like, what is it that I enjoy away from that? Who am I? You know, I often think about retiring. It makes me sound like I hate my job. I love what I do. Sometimes it can be stressful and I'm like, oh gosh, wouldn't it be wonderful to not work? And then I'm like, well, what would I do with my time? And I've seen a couple of people in retirement and they also have, you know, this worry initially. It is quickly followed by, oh, actually, I love having this time off. It's so nice to be able to explore and do X, Y, Z. But I'm really wondering if maybe this is coming from like OP's mum being like, ooh, I don't know who I am anymore, but I know I'm a good mum. Come, live with me. Roommate again, buddy. But doesn't make it the right thing to do. Definitely don't think that it's drama, OP, at all. I really hope this sorts itself out. I really, really hope you suggested to your brother that he have share with your mum instead, because it really, really boils my blood when people are like, oh, yeah, you should totally do this, and they're not willing to do it themselves. All right, let's do one more. Am I the drama for naming my child after my mother-in-law's ex? Ooh, wait, what? Mother-in-law's ex. So your child is named after their grandpa, right? Because it's your husband's parents who've split up. Yeah, after a grandpa. Okay. My husband, 36-year-old man, and I, 33-year-old woman, are expecting our first child in March. Congratulations. We recently announced the name to our immediate families. Oh, sorry, that's just clicked. So you've done it in advance. That's where you've gone wrong. We'll talk about it later. First name is after his father and middle name after mine. Yeah, what's wrong with that? Yes, it's his dad. It's your husband's dad, who is no longer with his mum, but it's still your husband's dad. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know why like the math is not mathing in my head there. I've made that way more complicated than it needed to be. My mother-in-law responded by causing a massive scene, stating that she would under no circumstances allow her grandchild to have her ex-husband's name. For context, my husband's parents divorced 20 plus years ago and still have an amicable relationship. They call and text each other, coordinate family events together, so this outburst was quite surprising to us. My mother-in-law is now blowing up my phone saying that she needs me to change my husband's mind about this. Red flag. And I've told her that I won't be doing that as it's important to him. Am I the drama for refusing to change the name? No, you are not the drama, but I do think that you made a real cardinal mistake. There's so many name issues, right? At the end of the day, the only people who get to choose the name of the baby are the parents. And then when the child is old enough that they don't like it, they can change it themselves. But really, no other people should be involved. And the amount of pressure that we have had to share our baby names, me and Jamie, I mean, for babies that we haven't had yet, is a lot. And we have learned that the best way to deal with this is to not say anything. Because once that little squish is out and looks so cute and you give that baby a name, you're like, hey, this is baby named Pear. What? Why, Shaaba? Arnold, whatever, then it's really hard to look at gorgeous little baby squish Arnold and have a problem with a name that has already been given. But if that baby is still a hypothetical because it's not come out yet, then people feel for some reason like they have a right and a prerogative to swerve out of their lane. So I just advice, if you are pregnant, if you are looking to have kids, don't share your names with people until after the babies come out. Avoids a whole host of drama. But no, I don't think you are the drama here. It's your husband's prerogative. The dad, who you've named the baby after, I'm sure is still going to be a really important part of that baby's life. And I think this speaks more to like a little wobble of the mother-in-law than it does to you guys. I don't think you're doing anything wrong, and I do think it's really problematic for mother-in-law to be contacting you to ask you to convince your husband to change baby's name. No. These are decisions that are made together. I don't think it's fair that someone would try and come to like one partner to try and like manipulate the other partner into doing something. That should be a conversation that you should all have in the open, you know? So no, I don't appreciate that. I think that's a really unhealthy way of communicating, and I really hope that mother-in-law is able to get over this, because it's not her right to be under it in the first place. Oh, I feel like I was a little bit spicy in this one. I don't know if it's because the nerves of my blood test. get your juicy little peachy butts downstairs in the comment section and let me know. But be kind as you share your opinions on all of these posts. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do consider giving it a thumbs up, subscribing if you'd like to see more. I will see you next time with another video. Be kind and have a great day. Bye.